Well, let's find out a little bit more about that story by talking to Alpesh Patel, who is the principal of Profenium Partners. A very good morning to you.
Morning.
Why is India doing this, opening up its supermarket industry to the rest of the world?
Well, it's been opening up its market for the last 20-odd years, ever since the reforms began under this Prime Minister when he was Finance Minister back in 1991. So this isn't new. And in fact, these protests aren't really about it opening up the retail sector even more so. Because if you think about it, there's only a handful of retailers. They certainly don't have the power to cause national strikes. This is a politically opportune moment for the opposition to step in off the back of corruption charges against the current Prime Minister when he was a coal minister, off the back of rising food prices, off the lowering of subsidies, which you heard about there. It's the lowering of subsidies because there's a huge budget deficit in India because of economic mismanagement, many would say, that has led to the rise in diesel prices and food prices. So this is actually off the back of many other things. The fact that there's going to be a few supermarkets in India's largest cities is neither here nor there, because India lives in its towns and villages, and it won't be impacted at all. And it's very good news that there's billions of dollars of inward investment coming in as a result of this.
So you're saying that basically smaller local retailers in India don't need to feel threatened at all by these big supermarkets coming in?
Well, as with all competition, some people will be affected. But given that the way retail is organised in a country like India, which I say lives in its villages, and given the fact that a lot of consumption of things like groceries happens pretty much door to door, the way it's been moving in the UK, except it happens on trolleys and carts out there, door to door, it won't affect the vast majority of retailers or convenience store owners. It'll affect the mid-sized ones, the ones who are actually very, very comfortably middle class, who own stores of a certain size. But the vast majority of smaller users, it doesn't affect them, because they're not going to be carrying around washing machines and the kind of white goods that you go to for the supermarkets. And as I say, for groceries, those are delivered door to door. The supermarkets can't compete with that, and they're not going to be opening up in the villages anyway.
Will all this go through, do you think? I mean, despite these, what everyone is expecting to be really widespread protests?
Well, in actual fact, the widespread protests over corruption have been ongoing for months anyway, and these national strikes, I'm in India every month, and these national strikes are on and off all the time as well. The critical change at the moment will be whether or not this government will collapse before any of these legislations can go through, because it's now a minority government, as you mentioned in your report, and therefore there might be an election called before one which is due in about 18 months. So it may be that it happens and is precipitated by these legislative moves, especially if, as I suspect, in the next few days there'll be a move for a motion of no confidence in order to maximise upon this dissatisfaction with the current government.
OK, thank you very much for that. Alpesh Patel, principal of Profenium Partners.